Okay, Drake here. Un, uh, I hate to say it, my brain ain't working these days, and I probably should have got a haircut with my friend, but I could do a quick trim later. But whatever. Okay, Drake here. Sunday night unboxing of another variant Draketoy, but don't know if this one will run because you know me, I'm actually always going back and forth between different vendors and stuff like that because I do want to try something different, but this could be the last year I'm doing it. I did it for 5 years, and first year was probably the best year, all the way up to like 2019. And then it went downhill because I was trying to get a place of my own so that way I could store the stock. Storing stock is the hardest thing to do because if I have storage, I've got storage fees. And for 2 years, I actually had extended storage, which kind of was useful, but I closed that out about 2.5 years ago. And since then, my storage rate's been going up, up, and up. When I know storage rates goes up, that's when real inflation is hitting because the volume of the storage didn't get higher. As a matter of fact, I lost half of my storage. So with all that limitations, I've had a few friends that can store stuff, but it's barely coming out of his pocket and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'll have to meet up with him and grab some of the stocks, clear up this shelf of junk, and figure out what I want to do there. Next couple of weeks, I've got two things I wanted to work on. One is my tail, so I'm going to be finishing that up and shoot a little video there. But for now, I will unbox and inflate a dragon. So let me find it. Get my pump. I don't know why I'm using a manual pump. I have so many electric pumps in here, but I'm that lazy. So here we have somewhere sitting on top of a chair. I really don't have much room, as you can see, so the box, they give me a sample, not sure why, but it could be the thickness for patches. And here's the slightly newer Draketoy design. I don't know if you got the PMS color from our feed, but when I saw the inflated video, the toy, I have a place to put this because I really don't have, other than my remnants of a bedroom. First off, I'll say one of the things I do like is that when I ask them to flip the design where the paint or the stuff is in the inside, my second thing is I can't tell if that's printed, as my eyes ain't that good. Did they make it a multi-chamber or single chamber? I never really asked. Because it's a prototype, it's not going to have any markings, so. But seeing how they folded it up, got it pretty damn small. Now every leg has a chamber, so they went kind of big on the chamber. And I might just pause it right here to inflate the toy with a pump or something. Pump or dump. And then, so, okay. A lot bigger than I thought for the valve. I like that idea, the sentiment, but it's a number 3, I think, because it seems like these valves are different from this manufacturer. But I do like the way they sealed it, though. They actually did a different design. Compared to other manufacturers, this is actually much more aligned. So let's inflate him and see what he looks like. Okay, like that. Got air in him and annoyingly larger valves. Fortunately, the body size seems to be a little bit smaller. It's more closer related to the other design that I had with the 2-piece. So there's actually 3 pieces. There's the part on the top. That's actually how they got the spikes on. I do like the fact they made the spikes smaller. I don't like the fact that they used thinner material for the spikes. far as the body, they've actually made it. Well, since it's inverted, as you can see, you can actually see his head now and stuff like that. The downside is that you get the lines from that. The head itself is actually a separate chamber, so I guess when you put too much pressure in his body, it reduces the likelihood that you blow his head off. It's probably a bad thing. But they did keep the air fins. I like that, the air fins, which some people don't like. I'm going to have to request handles on the side because I really miss the handles, but I don't know a good place to hold them without ripping the spikes off. And if I look closely, he actually did do the body attached. Since it's a separate chamber, it's a lot of goo stuff, which may be just left over from when they're over there at the shop. I would have to say their legs are closer together, which they should have made their legs wider apart. That's one thing I would definitely use, put the legs. If you look closely, they actually used lap seam for some reason. But they did use the intelligent lap seam that we're testing out, so I don't really know what other features I could add because my precocious brain. I did notice that they did make the tail just like my other tail, so it goes out the other way. And if you notice, they used a really large valve. I'm going to have to go back and see if we can make the body bigger or something. Maybe do some freeze frame on the video. So, there you have it. The new slightly V3 Draketoy, maybe either a hanging hook somewhere, or he would look really nice actually hanging from the ceiling, unless someone wants to do things. And yes, this is actually direct printed. You can kind of tell now that I have it inflated. You can see the vinyl. So I'm going to ask him about that. If you do run a 200-piece run or something like that, a large wholesale run or MOQ run or something along that line, how durable, how that might change. Or should we just go back to black vinyl and just do the printing on the other direction like we did in the past? But I will say it does feel a lot more sturdier, even as tightly inflated as I have some of the areas. I probably could get some more air in certain areas. One of the legs. But I will say, yeah, his legs will definitely rip off. They're not exactly designed the way. But they definitely did design it, so it's actually pretty proportional. But I would assume because they don't have that center panel to seal back in previous designs, add a little more to the legs. Get out. And that's another thing too, because they use such big valves that I'm having a heck of a time even getting the valves back into the hole. So, without further ado, or finding out how these things go in, there you go, that one went flush. I don't normally push the valves in because that wears out the valves faster, but for this test, this is a test before I do an actual production run. I kind of want to test it out, hopefully not burst in by accident, but I've been kind of rough with him because that tells me how sturdy he is too. So, yeah, I can't seem to get these valves in, because that's the thing that I kind of annoyed is they use pretty large valves, and really the legs, the head, if it's going to be this many chamber, I would go with one more size valve down, really, because my previous one, the legs and stuff had the smaller valves, and they were a bit of a pain, but the chamber's so small, so it didn't really matter. So I would say the valves are a little bit too big compared to what I'm using, so I'm going to put that in my notes, and that should be it.